Alrighty, hello everybody and welcome to the 2023.2 simCup series. We have round 2 going tonight and we're at Laguna, Seca. It's been a little bit of a weird one. There seems to be some rain in the desert, so the drivers are out there trying to get to grips with the track and just make ready. Sorry, apologies for the beep there. I'm just confirming that my co-commentator is unfortunately not available tonight. Not the end of the world. I can run this. I can talk to myself and, well, everybody here. While we're waiting, there's still a little bit of formalities that we can quickly go through. So, just in terms of some race info, as I've already mentioned, we are at Laguna Seca. Quite a legendary track. I believe it's out in California, out in the desert. Actually, I might need to double check that. But of course, known for the corkscrew. And with these unpredictable, well, dare I say unpredictable Porsches with a rear that is quite happy to step out if you're too eager on the throttle, I'm sure it is not easy getting through that corkscrew corner. Quite the tough one. But all the undulation, the height change on this track, I think it's going to make for some really interesting racing. Right, in terms of the weather, just to quickly recap on that. It's partly cloudy with a chance of showers. So knowing that ACC can be a little tumultuous with its weather configuration, I think real-life weather forecasts have shown a low chance of showers. I actually can't remember. I think someone said there's about a 20% chance of rain showers during the race session. So it's there, but it's not necessarily a guarantee. The weather randomness is quite low, so if it is already raining, we can likely expect it to rain for the entirety of the race. Right, so let's get back to the main view here. I'll go and get our broadcasting tower up and running. And it seems it's messed up my state. Yes, that's what I'm looking for. So we're at the butt end of the practice session. The drivers will be heading out for their qualifying session in just a moment. There is about a 20-second, well, 2-minute wait timer right now, so just those still on hot laps can come and finish their laps. It's already been quite entertaining watching some of the cars. Right, so everybody has finished their hot laps. Let me make sure that I am in drive mode, and we are back into the action. Quite a few cars out on track tonight, so around about 24 it seems. Let me double check my timing grid. Yes, we've got 24 cars. Load shedding, of course, as always, playing a pretty big role here in South Africa. It makes it a little bit tougher to plan around these things, and if you don't have a backup at home, sadly a few racers are missing out tonight. In YouTube chat, Franco Bernardi, Debbie Bartle, Paul Fenter, welcome. It's exciting to have you here. Franco, I remember you saying you're not able to make it, so always exciting if you can tune in and cheer your buds and friends on. For some reason, because Nick jumped into the server first like a sneaky devil, it's now focused on him. I'll just make sure that my timer is working. Currently my stats is saying that Nick is kind of the fastest, but I actually haven't even looked at the race results. Okay, so drivers will be starting and preparing. 15-minute quali time. It's not a lot of time to get a nice lap in. Nick just creating a little bit of a gap for himself there. on my auto broadcaster. So I'm just gonna stick with Nick. It seemed like he was preparing a decent lap there. He has been looking a little bit all over the place. Currently the track is fast, so we should be expecting a little bit of track development here, especially with the amount of cars running tonight. I'm not necessarily expecting it to get to... Ooh, that might have been an invalid lap, Nick. I am now even not sure. I do remember the track limits at that exit being quite tough, or maybe just the sand really losing you a lot of time. So Nick maybe not 100% where he wants to be. This, of course, the corkscrew corner coming up. It is such a tough one to get right. You are, I think, if I remember correctly, that's about a 3-story drop that you're going down. So quite a lot of elevation change. Can really unsettle the car. And YouTube chat there, Jude Neville, hello, welcome. Always great to see people coming and supporting their teams. Nick taking not liberties with track limits. I know that there was what's known as the esports line, Nick crossing the line, and that has put him in third. I'm sure that he can still gain quite a bit of time. Right, let's see if I can get focused on someone else. So Heinrich Leber, he was in contact with me just now, struggling to get on the server, so great to see he is on there and able to run. Hopefully things will be going down smoothly for him tonight. On board with Charles Wilkin now. He seems to be right ahead of someone, so he's trying to manage that gap, or at least I suspect that might be John Wuchner. I'm not recognizing the livery immediately. As I switch, just a little bit too eager for my liking. Up to this last hairpin, getting a good exit here is paramount. Maybe a bit of wheel spin, but Charles is currently on provisional pole. He does improve by quite a bit, so that's going to be a 1:25.1, the time to beat. I'm sure we'll see these lap times drop as time progresses. Hopping back to Sean Loureiro, who is currently 8. Almost a second up on his Delta. In the Schick SA, well, the LT Schick SA racing team there. I was praising the livery the other night when we were on Silverstone, and I'm still liking it. I really like the look of it. I am sure the drivers are breathing a sigh of relief that it isn't raining right now. I'm pretty sure it won't rain. touch I'm touch wood. I'm not trying to commentators curse this, but the weather forecast is looking good, so it's just going to be cloudy. I think the track, the temperature being so cool might just have a either it's going to have a positive or a negative impact. Alright, so Sean does bump himself up into P3. Let's see if we can go find someone else. Roxanne Bartle, 6/10 up on her Delta. She has just about gone through Sector 1, part of the Grumpy Monkey crew. Eight tenths up, that's gonna bump her up by quite a bit. Might even, if she is able to string the lap together, put her in front of Nick Hodgson. What has Nick been doing? Maybe he's not been getting the practice time he's needed for this car. Ooh, up ahead, someone going very wide. Does it unsettle Roxanne? Looks like she's still 9/10 up on her Delta, so keep her head down. Oh no, I was wrong. Okay, Roxanne is 2 seconds, so not gonna put her ahead of Nick. Or it might. Oh, all the numbers updating. It's confusing me. get a good exit. That was a really, really good exit. 1 second up in her delta. And crosses the finish line to take a P4 for the race start. There is still quite the gap between Jeremy and Charles Wilkin. So I'm fully expecting some drivers to be slotting into that gap. Let's go look further down the field. Mr. Gideon Benardi. Currently running in sector 2 there, so 5 seconds behind the fastest time, which currently belongs to Mr. Sean Stradon. He's done a phenomenal 24.6 1 minute 24.6 lap time, which is round about 5/10 quicker than Charles Wilkins. So Charles gonna have a little bit of work to do if he wants to catch up, and was maybe what I was referring to. I'm fully expecting a bit of track development here. Right, Gideon crosses the finish line and bumps himself up into P18, so he does improve by quite a bit. Gonna go up and down the field a little bit. Let's hop onto Endrin Govender. Currently 3/10 up on his delta, approaching sector 3, which is basically at the corkscrew. Well, it starts just before the corkscrew, so lots of time to still gain if you've messed that section up. Six tenths up, he's managed to pull together quite a bit of time. Takes a slightly wider line there than most. Decent exit, that's put him 7 tenths up, and that will bump him into P4. Just ahead of Jeremy de Villiers. Bumping back just to catch it at the last moment. Bjorn Buchner 1.3 seconds up on his delta. That bumps him up into P18. So also still quite a bit of time there for him on the table that he can improve if he's matching pace closer. Then Renier Leach, he's in the middle of sector 2. I can't remember this quick kink to the left. There's a light brake tap there and dive into the apex. Starting sector 3 now into the corkscrew. Ooh, that looks slow, but it does look smooth. Right, Renier exiting the last hairpin there, crossing the finish line with 1.5 tenths up. That puts him into P19. I missed it, but I did see Nick Hodgson bumping himself up into P3 on my timing grid. Switching back to Donovan Deneuwen. He is about 6 tenths up on his delta, so a little bit of time. Oh, big moment. Let me quickly see if I can catch that 10 seconds ago. Slides a bit. Oh yes, cuts the inside line and just hops over that bump on the inside. That's not ideal. In the number 76 car, Mr. Johan van der Merwe, M-Cubed Racing. I'm trying to remember if that is the team name. It might be, but I'm not sure. He's going to cross the finish line, bumps himself up into P4. One of our newer members, if I remember correctly, he's been shown to be quite the fast one. I think we better keep our eyes peeled there. Sean Stradom and Charles Wilkins seems to be that little bit of a step above the rest. Nick close there, but his best competition right now is probably Johan. Dropping back, Mr. Christy Simon, 3/10 up on his delta. He is crossing the, well, going through the last corner now. Crosses the finish line, and he is now P13. To Sean Moreira. As he approaches the hairpin, can he get a good line through there? Misses that sausage curb. Ooh, that maybe wasn't the best exit. I think he lost about 2/10. It is still enough to bump him up into P5. 2 minutes on the clock. Times are going to be coming in thick and fast now. Odin Racing, Mr. Ryan Hill, runs into one of the B team racing cars there. Oh no, they just lost control. Ryan has a little bit of a second-hand looking car there, but I think he's looking at the situation and deciding better to keep running. There's not enough time to do an outlap and a hot lap, so do the best he can. Good luck, Mr. Ryan. I'm gonna go find someone else that's up on their delta. Mr. Mark Hennebury, 3/10 up on his delta. Toying around there with like P11, P10. Maybe not quite P10, but crossing the finish line, he'll bump himself up into P12, just ahead of Mr. James Leach. Right, hopping to the back, Gideon Bernardi, rounding the last corner now. A little bit of a wiggle that had cost him 2/10. That's unfortunate. As I say, that Ryan Hill, 1 second up on his delta. Let's follow him. Ooh, that's a very aggressive line on the inside at the top end of the corkscrew there. But he is 1.2 seconds up on his delta. That's not quite gonna be enough, I think. 1.7 seconds. So Ryan proving he's got loads of time in him. I think he might be able to bump ahead of Chris Bernardi there. We'll have to wait and see. And Ryan jumps ahead into P22. Just jumping ahead, Sean Stradom is on his last hot lap there. He is fighting tooth and nail to try and take pole away from Charles Wilkin, who's done it with a 24.2. Will this be enough? Oh, just not enough. Sean does manage to shave off a few thousandths there, but it's not quite enough. Just jumping to Jeremy de Villiers. From the De Villiers Motorsport team. Oh, I'm really liking the red and green on this livery. This is one of the Yellow design liveries by, now I'm blanking on his name. Oh no. Jeremy right on the bubble there. I don't think he's got enough in hand to improve positions. And he finishes. He's going to stay P8. Let's bump to Ryan Hill. Trying to see what he can put together. It's quite a big gap. Almost a second that he'll have to fill, and I don't think he's got enough. Crosses the finish line, and that is qualifying, ladies and gentlemen. Right. I am going to go to a very quick ad break. Hopefully we'll be back by the time they start up. Alrighty, we're back. As they start rolling out, I'm gonna just bump to Mr. Nick Hodgson. Let's go to our helicam. Actually, let's focus on Charles Wilkin. He's deserved a well-fought pole position. Everybody going out for a full formation lap. Give them the best amount, best chance at trying to heat up their tires. Just getting their cars ready. There is a pit window that starts 10 minutes into the race, if I remember correctly. I just need to confirm that very quickly. I'll find it now if I can get the link. Yes, there is a pit window. The way this works, it's a total of 40 minutes. It starts 10 minutes into the race when the pit window opens. The competitors are required to add 1 liter of fuel at minimum, and the pit window closes with 10 minutes to go, so at the 15-minute mark. If you don't adhere to the minimum requirements for the pit window, you're going to you'll most likely be disqualified. I actually need to double check that. I might be wrong. It's not always clear which way around this goes, and when people end up not adhering to the pit window, it's oftentimes led to some disappointment for a driver when they've gone through all the effort. Loads of these Porsches. Oh, the sound on next to the track. To experience this in real life must be absolutely amazing. On Stradom there, just playing around a little bit, it seems, trying to get his tires nice and warmed up. We'll have to make sure that he is behind Mr. Wilkin when they start, though. Right. And straight on ahead a little bit. Green. Charles does still have the inside line. It does look like Charles got away decently there. Ooh, Johan having a little bit of a look there on the inside. Let's hop back a little bit there. Looks like pretty much the whole field is up and running. Gonna hop forward just to see that everybody is making it through turn 2 fine. Little bit of wiggling there. Ooh, someone lost the rear coming out of turn 2. There's always the tense moment. Everybody is breathing and trying to just make sure that they can keep things going. It's Indren. Oh, my timing tower is all over the place. Right, back to Charles Wilkin. He is in the lead. Johan van der Merwe has taken P2 away from Sean Stradom there, but I'm sure Sean is going to be battling it out as much as he can. Just hopping backwards there a little bit. Let's find a camera angle. That was just that logistical nightmare. Orange livery is quite striking. I liked it enough to make it the thumbnail for tonight's live stream. Paul, I know you have to give some ups there for the people designing your liveries. As always, I think your team does really good work. Okay. Yes, Shiren, those downshifts. Initially, when I heard this car, I must say I was not a fan, but I'm starting to grow to like this. Right, the top 4 seems to have a little bit of a buffer behind. gap between Sean and Nick is growing ever so slightly. Interesting, Gideon Bernardi has got the fastest lap there, probably because of being at a higher speed there once everybody got going. I'm gonna go do some gap hunting. Flip van Zyl, Mark Hennebury and Ryan van Wyk. And a nose to tail here. Ooh, into the corkscrew. It's always difficult to judge. And the B-Team racing car of Gregory Hofart spinning out. Just got on the throttle a little bit too eager. Bumps the barrier ever so slightly. It shouldn't be too much of a problem. He can recover and continue running. Right, Flip van Zyl now has to ward off the attack by Ryan van Wyk right behind him. I'm already seeing some cars in the pits, probably in there to go and repair and get themselves up and running again. Well, that was interesting. Now it explains why it reminded me so much of a livery I've seen before. Okay, that's very interesting. Kudos to Alan there. Ooh, this is going to be a nice three-way battle between Ryan van Wyk, Martin Groenewald and Flip van Zyl. Martin Groenewald, one of the Grumpy Monkey Academy drivers, but I think he is very quickly going to be showing what he's made of, showing his mettle. It's always daunting getting into these races for the first time. I remember way back when I started out, it was so scary in those F3 cars. Ooh, Flip van Zyl does not have a very good exit there out of the corkscrew. Can he stay ahead of Ryan? Ryan now just has to really focus, and already Ryan is backing off a little bit. Maybe the car is sliding too much there. Right. Just want to see what happens going into turn 1 there. It looked like there might be a drive from Martin, but not 100%. One of the B-Team cars exiting the pits. Careful now, cold tires. A very tight pit exit turn there can really unsettle your car. Let's get out cleanly. Just to go and find another gap. Ooh, Heinrich Leber with Sheldon Stunder all over the back of him. Sheldon loses out to Donovan De Nuyen there, having to run wide while avoiding action. Good job for not running into the back of Heinrich. I do know that drivers can sometimes it's easy to get caught out by a driver in front when you're not 100% sure what their braking markers are. Heinrich looking like he might be a little bit out of his depth. I suspect Donovan De Nuyen was caught in the... Well, not suspect. I can see his bonnet isn't in a great shape. So he likely got caught up in a little bit of a prank. And is on a drive back. People, be careful here. Ooh, that's unfortunate. Okay, Donovan De Nuyen's going to have to settle the nerves and find his rhythm. Just hopping forward to Ryan Hill. He's got Renew Leach all over the back of him. Renew probably one of the cars that might have had a bit of an issue. Ryan is not really defending too hard, just allowing Renew to slip by. Ryan lifting there. Trying to just run his own race. He knows that he's not quite up to the pace of Renew. And it's going to be better for him to just manage his own pace. Right, I'm hopping back to the front here. Charles Wilkin has pulled a little bit of a gap, 1.7 seconds. A little bit, maybe more like a mile between himself and P2. But the battle for P3, 2, 3 and 4, very much alive. I am fully expecting these drivers to be looking at how to best capitalize on the fight. Okay. Looking here at Chris Bernardi. Loads of cars around him there. Big pack battle, it seems. Oh, there are some blue flags running. Chris, on the inside there. Who's that? Is that Sean? I don't think that's Sean Lorero. One of the B team racing cars. Ooh, up ahead, one of the cars just losing it. Who was that? Golden Thunder. Let's go back there a little bit. I'm not sure what happened there. Use this view where you can see the throttle inputs. Ever is a slight movement of the leg. That's not what I wanted. I think this driver quit out. I hope that's not the case. Anyways, let's get back to the racing. Flip under attack by Martin Groenewald, who's all over the back of him, trying his best to get by, but not quite. Martin running slightly wide there, that's going to cost him. It does bring Ryan van Wyk back into contention. And the pit window is open, so we should expect to start seeing some drivers pit. If I remember correctly though, the optimal strat is to wait until the very end. And this is now opening up the door for Ryan van Wyk to get on the inside. Does keep the tight line into turn 1. Oh, Martin. That's unfortunate. Little over ego there. Unfortunate. Let's see if I can find another battle. Mr. Bjorn Buchner and Endren Govender. What happened to Endren now? Endren just overtook Bjorn. You can see what happened here. Oh, side by side out of the last corner. Into turn 1, Bjorn being bumped from the rear there. No. I hope that's not Gideon Bernardi. No, that is not. Might have been a back marker. Oh, it's unfortunate when this happens. Hopefully Bjorn can keep his head down. Lorero trying to close the gap on Bjorn. Just jumping ahead a bit here. Christy Simon trying to bring the challenge to Roxanne Bartle. Two grumpy monkey drivers. No team orders. Normally we don't play by those rules unless there might be some extra championship points on the line. Still early in the championship. Ooh, Christy runs a little bit wide. Can he recover? He does just. Oh, it's always a tense moment when you're onto the gravel over there. Top 4 quite spread out at the moment. Carl Wilkin bringing in the lead. He's been pumping in quick laps. Currently on a best of a 24.3. But that is not the absolute best. Fastest lap currently held by this gentleman, Mr. Sean Strydom. A best of a 124.19. So quite a bit. Oh, sorry. That was his last lap. His best lap was a 24.15. So around about 2/10 quicker than Charles. But his last lap was around about 4/10 quicker than Charles. So Sean will be looking to close down that gap up ahead. I'm actually curious to see how this plays out from a strategy point of view. Maybe Sean has something up the sleeve. Going to be exciting to see. That little bit of wet track that we started out with, it seems to have dried up nicely. There's still a lot of time to go, so I'm not going to speculate too much on where this weather is heading right now. See Mr. Ryan van Wyk, closely followed by Martin Groenewald. Into the hairpin. Martin running a slightly wider line there. That's not going to be ideal. Their last laps differing by about 4/10. No, apologies, 2/10. So Ryan currently the slightly faster driver, but he is not matching the times of Flip van Zyl up ahead. He'll have to clear his mind and push a little bit harder to close that gap. It is a pretty substantial gap, a 2.2 second gap, so it is still doable. It goes very sideways through 10.3 there. That's going to bring Martin Groenewald back into contention. They are arriving on the back of one of the B team racing cars. I know they had some troubles early on. So there might be a little bit of lap traffic to deal with. Martin getting very ambitious on into the turn there, but not quite able to capitalize on a move there. Really difficult to make an overtake stick through the what's it called? Through the corkscrew. Ryan having a little bit of trouble getting past the back marker there. Marker does run nice and wide, leaving him plenty of space, but Ryan biffs it on the exit. Spins up the wheels. They're 3 abreast. Ryan still keeping the inside line. Martin leaving him plenty of space, but does make the overtake stick. This battle is still very much alive though. Martin has shown that he is not 100% consistent, so the pressure of Ryan hounding him, and as I'm saying that, does have a slightly slower exit out of turn 3, almost side by side into turn 4. But I think everything is settling nicely. Tech IT Sim Racing, hello there, and then Mr. Ryan Barrington-Smith, nice to see you in YouTube chat. Unfortunate that you couldn't make it to the race tonight, but always... Ooh! Martin makes a mistake coming out of the corkscrew. Ryan trying the cutback, but Martin just parking his car on the apex there. This is some beautiful wheel-to-wheel racing right here. Keeping a close eye up ahead. Let me switch back quickly. Jeremy de Villiers is on the hunt for P5 with RBM Marais in the LT Chic SA car. Let's switch to Jeremy and we can go on board just to listen to the roar of the engine a little bit more. Oh, Jeremy has a quick line there through. Very ambitious. Applying all the pressure. Does it work? Still side by side. Ooh, there's a little bit of a door tap. Can Jeremy keep it together? I'm gonna switch to helicam and just drop back 30 seconds. I'm really curious to see what happened. Magnus Heinz, welcome. Jeremy rightfully applying the pressure there, but ultimately still has the Schick racing car on the inside, has a bit of a bump and gets sent wide. Luckily the car crossing behind misses him, and that has put down Jeremy de Villiers back into P8 with Mark Henneberry all over the back of him now. Jeremy is going to be struggling with some hot tires at the moment. Well, I'm assuming he's struggling with the hot, but we'll be struggling with hot tires. After a spin like that, you need to be careful to not overdrive the car immediately. Take a moment, take a breather, find your rhythm again. Mark a little bit lively there. Hope my internet connection isn't giving too much trouble. Does get a really good exit there. What's going to happen here at the exit of the last corner? Who gets the better drive? Mark is going to be right under the tail. If he's brave, he might even stick out his nose and go for an outbrake maneuver. Not quite, way too far back. Both drivers not giving one another an inch. While this battle develops, I'm going to see if what's going on here. Chris Bernardi is going very slowly, letting lap traffic by. Donovan Denoon right behind him. Yes, that is. Yes, that's Charles Wilkin and Sean Straydon that they've let through. Sean has managed to close that gap down to 2 seconds, so he's gained about 2/10. Slowly but surely he'll have to start getting closer and closer. Oh, Chris Bernardi just lights up the tires a bit. Oh, that's so unfortunate to see that happening. Back to Arvia, who's now being pestered by Christy Simon. If I wanted to switch back, see what happened, but I'm also curious to see how this pans out. Arvia being very, very aggressive, braking late and closing that racing line off. Switch to Christy Simons on board. Quick, Arvia must have had a little bit of a moment. Gonna switch to helicam, go back a minute. What happened there? Arvia, oh, that's a very, very untidy line out of the corner. No. But beautiful late braking maneuver into turn 1. A little bit risky closing that apex like that. But it did assert the dominance really, really well. Okay. Once my replay stops finishing, I'll go hunt for Jeremy de Villiers heads into pits. Okay, so my replay is still going. Jeremy de Villiers has decided to pit. Probably hoping to see what's going on there. Christy Simon and Roxanne switching places. Christy just letting the rear step out there in turn 2. Just caught that on my timing screen. Right. Up to Sean Strydom, who has now closed down this gap to 1 second. Charles Wilkin surely must be sweating right now. Sean still holding the fastest lap. That's what the purple indicator on the timing grid says. We are around about 34 minutes left, so not quite at the halfway mark, but getting close to it. Just up ahead, Charles Wilkin navigating some back markers. I think that's Bjorn Buchner. Gets out of the way nicely for Sean Strydom. Back here, it looked like there was a bit of a tight gap. Oh no, I suspect that's people in pits that is triggering my timing screen to update weirdly. Gregory Hofart has got Indran Govender breathing down his neck. Indran's Porsche looking a little bit second-hand. That number 3 car running wide, being driven by Mr. James Leach. Indran's last lap, a whole 3/10 quicker than Gregory Hofart's. It's going to be all about Indran applying the pressure to the onboard here as we head to the corkscrew chicane. The frustrating thing about Laguna Seca, if you are racing near, I think it's sundown or sunrise. I can't remember which one. Going down the corkscrew can be such a pain because you're just absolutely blinded. There was someone just now that had to be avoided. What happened there? Oh, that's a car that... Oh, it's Martin Groenewald. Oh no, he's gone and spun it. All that hard work. It's got a good result for him though. Let's head back to the lead. Sean Strydom. Still around about a second behind Charles Wilkin. Last lap was about 4/10 slower than Charles. Might have been back market traffic. Not 100% sure. Ave Maria just lapped. I think that might be one of the Bernardis, if I remember correctly. He's been on a bit of a quiet drive, but like outside of that battle with Christie a little bit earlier, I haven't seen a lot of battling from Arvia. He's got a 3-second buffer in front of him and a 2-second buffer behind him, so it's going to be all about focusing on getting good, clean laps going. Renier Leach runs wide there. Just staying out of the way of the leaders. But that did cost him a bit dearly though. It's allowed Jeremy de Villiers to slip by. Ryan Hill running very, very wide. They're out the way of the drivers coming through. Martin Groenewald into the pits. Donovan de Nooyen into the pits. Nick Hodgson into the pits. Looking to run a 50-50 strat. I'm wondering what this time will be. Let's quickly see. What's the time stationary? Is he running some plan? So it's quite a long pit stop. It's a very, very long pit stop. Oh no, I think this is a tire change pit stop. I didn't see the car go up on the jacks though. Ah, there it drops. Yeah, I think this was a tire change pit stop. But Nick's going to be losing quite a bit of time there. It is about whether you can make it up though. Those fresh set, that fresh set of tires might be the difference between 3 or 4 tenths if I remember correctly per lap, but you have to really capitalize it and not get too stuck in traffic, in which case having the slightly earlier pit stop then does make sense, because it allows you to not have to deal with as much traffic that will have to go and pit later. But there is still almost 20 minutes left in this pit window. So you can very easily still be caught up in the panic. Right. Let's see if I can find something else. Renier Leach. Ooh, Julian Bernardi with a stop and go 30. That must have been for speeding in the pits. Wilkin being hounded by Mr. Sean Strydom. I know these two, if I remember correctly, these two gentlemen will be waiting as long as they can before they go pit. But I am sure Sean would love to try and make an overcut work. If they're not planning on taking tires, running lighter. Ooh, Sean! Let's go and watch him. How quick of a pit stop is this? Very risky play from Sean right now. It is still very early, but he might be feeling he's losing too much time. Stops. Don't see the car going up. Very, very quick. Just a quick splash and dash. He is still in P2 though. No, sorry, I'm lying. That is my timing tower not updating quickly enough. I'm sure once he crosses this first sector line, let's see. What is the damage? Actually, looking at it, Nick Hodgson went to pit. And then Merve went to pit. So Sean is pretty safe by pitting now. The only risk was maybe exiting behind Arvia. But this is putting Sean in a really good position. If Sean can do quick, fast laps compared to Charles Wilkin, that's gonna be very beneficial. I'm keeping a close eye. So Charles' last lap, a 1:25.0. Sean's last lap will now be a very slow one, because of the pit exit. I'll come and have a look in just a bit. So Arvia Mare yet to pit, one of the drivers. Nick has lost out quite a bit compared to Johan van der Merwe. Johan is around about, what, 17? No, I'm not sure. I'll have to see if I can quickly find. So Arvia is 7 seconds behind Sean Strijdom. Johan, he was 17 seconds behind Arvia. So Johan also took tires. That's the only way I can explain this gap. It's around about 30 seconds. If Johan was within 10 seconds of Sean, that very easily explains the 30-second gap you're seeing right now. Well, almost 30, 24 second gap. Hopping back, it looked like Renier was close to someone. That is not Bjorn Buchner in the background. That is someone else. Oh, they probably lapped another driver. So Charles Wilkin has started another lap. Strijdom has also just started another lap. Sean is currently 1/10 slower than Charles. Charles is really putting in some work to try and stay ahead. Who is that, Mr. Leach? Yes, that was Renier Leach that went wide. Just hopping on board with Martin Groenewald. Last lap 1:28. Quite a bit slower than Indren Governor up ahead. Martin was showing to be quite the fierce driver there earlier. But that's the thing. That is unfortunately the situation with being a little bit of a newer driver. Might not be used to the consistency needed to run a clean race. I'm not saying that Martin hasn't, just that it can be a little frustrating as a newer driver when you're seeing you can compete with the top 10 or some of the drivers in the top 15, and then have to deal with some struggles, like a little mistake here, a little mistake there. These moments can add up in the longer term. But keep your head down, keep running. All great fun out there to be had. Okay, so in P3, Arvia Mare still looking good. 12 minutes left in this pit window. of the top 10. 5 drivers yet to pit. Well, Sean Loureiro enters pits just now. Nick might be able to bring... Yeah, I think Nick will be able to bring himself back into P5. We will have to see what Avia ends up doing for his pit stop though. At the moment it's looking like Avia is running the splash and dash like everybody else. Switching back to Sean Strydom, his last lap, a 1:24.7 compared to Charles Wilkins, 1:25.2. So Charles seems to be struggling quite a bit. Sean Strydom is doing a lot of work. I am fully expecting him to be ahead of Charles. 27 seconds. I think a drive-through on the pits alone is about 30 seconds. So, oh, Charles, you're losing out a little bit on position here. Track position is very key at a track like Laguna Seca. I suspect Charles just isn't aware of the fact that Sean Strydom has been running that quickly. Okay. Switching to Mark Hennebury. He's been going a little bit quicker, was up on his delta there. Running P11 at the moment, 2 seconds adrift of Christy Simon for P10. He is 2 seconds quicker than Christy Simon's last lap, so Christy's gonna have to put a little bit, put some foot like put his foot down in that corner to make sure that he can stay ahead. And then Ryan van Wyk, Martin Groenewald seems to be battling it out again. No. What is going on here? My timing sheet is lying for me. Okay, not the end of the world. I can jump ahead to Gregory Hofart and Flip van Zyl though. Gregory Hofart currently 7/10 off of the back of Flip van Zyl. Gregory goes into the pits. His last lap was 10th slower than Flip van Zyl's. Not sure if the pit stop undercut will be the payoff here. We'll have to wait and see. But I suspect it's gonna boil down to traffic. Bjorn Buchner getting a drive-through penalty, very likely for track limits. Seca Competizione penalizes you with for track limits with the use of a warning system. If it deems you have gained an advantage when going off track, it will issue you a warning, and on your 4th warning it will issue you with a drive-through penalty. Well, every 4th warning will be issued with a drive-through penalty. You have to be very, very careful, especially if you start finding yourself getting warnings that you've through the track limits and gained from. It is sometimes a little bit hit and miss, I will admit that. But for the most part, it keeps the drivers very honest. Brian Hill having quite the race, currently running in P18. Looks like all the pit stops around him that are of importance is shaken out. I'm curious to see where Bjorn Buchner will finish. But Bjorn starting his drive-through penalty right now. I don't think Ryan's going to be able to catch just yet. Yeah, Ryan is way too far behind. Okay. Right, so I'm hopping back to Johan van der Merwe. Keeping an eye on him. 7/10 slower than Sean Strydom up ahead. But in that same breath, he is around 3/10 slower than Nick Hodgson. There's still quite the gap between them. Flip console is also sitting in between them. But I think Johan if he can keep his calm, he'll have a comfortable race to the end. Hervé Marais into the pits, parks the car, and as I said, if he is driving this the same strategy as everybody else, yes, that is a pretty quick pit stop, but Flip van Zyl rounding the bend now. Hervé is still exiting. Flip's going to overtake him in the pits. Flip is also yet to pit, so I'm sure Hervé will be able to get that position back. But he also does lose out to Nick Hodgson, who's able to... as I predicted, I think Nick will be able to solidify a P4 finish for himself. But the strategy just not on his side. I have speculated that I think the splash and dash is a little bit too powerful. There are options to weigh up here. If you do take new tires, you're going to lose time waiting for these new tires to warm up, because these tires aren't put into... very slidey there, Nick. And these tires aren't put into tire warmer blankets, so you're gonna end up needing to run 2-3 laps to get them up to temperature, and that's gonna cost you time as well. It's not just the time lost in the pits. Someone spins up ahead. Is that Mr. Libbe? Heinrich Libbe? Yes. Does rejoin. Looks like a nice and safe rejoin. 4 minutes left on the clock. Charles Wilkin looking very racy there with Jeremy de Villiers. Into the last corner. A little bit of door banging. Going straight on. 25 seconds behind Charles Wilkin. Sean Skitter, thanks for that insight. I was under the impression that a drive-through alone is around about a 30-second loss, so that the 1 liter fuel stop puts a drive-through at closer to 25 seconds. With the stop itself taking around about 3.5 seconds. So it's gonna be tight. It's gonna be tight. I am holding my breath. I suspect Charles will be coming into pits at the end of this lap. In all honesty, I think he made a mistake trying to battle Jeremy de Villiers there. Or I'm saying battle, trying to overtake Jeremy de Villiers. He's at the point where everybody behind him has made a pit stop. I actually think everybody on the grid has made a pit stop except Charles Wilkin. He is going to be the last car to take their mandatory pit stop. Still 3 minutes left of this pit window, and Charles pushes onwards. So putting this at a sub 1.5 minute lap, Charles can potentially still do 2 more laps. Will he cut it that fine? I am not sure whether you need to enter pits before the pit window closes, or whether you need to be stopped by the time the pit window closes. Keeping an eye on, I'm going to stay with Charles for the time being. I'll go and find battles a little bit later. John Skitter saying just need to cross pit entry. So 3 minutes should be enough to then finish 2 laps before pitting. No, Ryan, I'm definitely in agreement with you. Charles has been losing way too much time in traffic. I actually think he should have pitted the lap right after Sean pitted, and Charles goes into the pits now. All right. This is where things are going to get interesting. I'm going to switch to Helicam. Soon as Charles is stationary, I'll switch to Sean. Ooh, it's going to be tight. Charles is moving again. Sean is on the main straight, and he overtakes Charles. Charles has exited pits, back on track, and the last timing line update put him at 2 seconds behind Sean, but it is closer to 7 seconds. Oh, heartbreak for Mr. Charles Wilkin. But that said, this is always a tough one for me. I've probably said this a few times too many for some people. As sim racers, we're everything all in one. We're our own race engineers, we're strategists, we're drivers. It is really, really tough to make these decisions while driving and not getting into an accident. Why I'm a really big proponent of looking at having a race engineer present for your races. The sad reality is everybody wants to be a race car driver. Very few people are actually that interested in the race engineer slash strategist. If I was Charles' strategist sitting on the radio with him, I would have been very honest with him and said, hey, listen, when Sean went into the pits, he was already 2 tenths quicker than you. If you're gonna drag this out, you might run into traffic. That's gonna slow you down more. Yes, they might also run into traffic, but at that point, if they get just a little bit of clear air, they're gonna be able to close that gap. Especially on a track like Laguna Seca, where track position is key. You need to weigh that up and make your decision, I think, more based on the fact that whether you can maintain track position rather than trying to see if you're going to be faster than the other driver. Like one of my favorite tools actually shows it's a very simple calculation. It just takes the last 3 laps and calculates the average and uses that as a pseudo like pace value. I use that as a driver, but it's taxing to look up at a grid of times and then try to figure out whether I'm slower or faster than someone. But having that race engineer view or that strategist view, you can much more easily make this decision. And not to take anything away from Charles here, he's driven beautifully tonight. I just think he's been let down by his own strategy, thinking that it's the optimal strategy to run. I'm gonna agree that it's the optimal strategy to run, but you have to take the racing into account as well. Okay, let's go see if I can find some battles. Looks like Ryan Hill. Is that a battle number? Number 44 car, so 414. 404, Leon van Vieren. That's lap traffic, so that's not a battle going on. Chris Bernardi. Ooh, the 2 Bernardi drivers. Very, very close to one another. Pace has fallen off a bit for most drivers, and that is also to be expected here. These cars go through these like waves of grip, and you need to really manage that And be careful that you don't over push on the laps where your tires have overheated a little bit. Then once they come back, settle down and start pushing again for a fast lap. That is Mr. Is that Flip van Sail? No, it's not Flip van Sail. That is Ryan van Wyk. Oh no. Ryan van Wyk having a lot of drama there. That's allowed Mr. Martin Groenewald, and Martin Groenewald back into the top 15. Good showing from him tonight. Sean Laredo and Flip van Sail battling it out. Both in the LT Schick SA cars. Not sure what the LT team's stance is on team orders. I'm sure it's so early in the season. Both drivers are just focusing on getting around the track as fast as possible and battling it out if they need to. Does look like he's a tad quicker. Last lap was round about 7. No, I'm lying. That's a lot. That's a full second. 1.2 seconds quicker. Flip does let Sean through. Sean can focus on putting down some fast time. Sean's going to be on the hunt for Roxanne Bartle up ahead. Sean's last lap time also 1.4 seconds quicker than Roxanne, so that gap's going to be closing. I'm just not sure if it's going to be closing quickly enough. Oh, actually 1.6 seconds. I was looking at Roxanne to Mark Henneberry. Go on board here. As I mentioned though, track position, very key. You can more easily hold onto a position. Oh no! That was a very bad rejoin. Oh no! What happened up ahead there? Let's see. I suspect that was the number 3 car with James Leach in it. Clattered that inside curb, tried to keep his foot on it, and then spun. No, Mr. James Leach, please be careful. Flopping up ahead, Nick Hodgson 14 seconds adrift of Johan van der Merwe. So Nick currently almost a second quicker than Johan. But as I mentioned, you need to be really quick compared to everybody else to really make that strategy work. We've got 3.5 minutes left on the clock. It's not going to be enough time to catch P3 unless there's a mistake. Not me saying P3 must go and make a mistake now. Johannes has had a really good showing tonight. I've been really impressed with his driving. Gregory Hofart. It's got Mark Henneberry all over the back of him. It's not the angle I'm looking for. That's also not what I'm looking for. Mark Henneberry looking like he's a little bit quicker. Has to back off there a little bit. Dealing with some lap traffic there. Gregory Hofart doing well to just park his car ever so slightly on the apex, make it a little more difficult for a slightly faster Henneberry to try and overtake. Henneberry's last lap more than 2 seconds quicker than Gregory Hofart, so Gregory having to work really hard to keep him behind. And I suspect suspect. I just no, they might be on the same strategy. I'm actually not sure. Have a look forward from Mark Henneberry, see if he can close this gap. 2 laps left. So if Sean has started his last lap. Taking the inside line. Apologies, that was the wrong camera angle. Not quite the inside line. Maybe switch to a helicam view, see what happens going into turn 1. Mark Henneberry slightly later on the brakes, running a slightly different line, maybe trying to make a cutback work there. A really difficult corner to make it work though. Back on board. Mark Henneberry sliding this car, and I've seen this from a few drivers now, really sliding the car through the corners. Little uncertainty there through that kink. Ooh, looks like Greg biffed it. That's Mr. Charles Wilkin also getting involved here. Ooh, that's making this battle so difficult. So did Sean start a new lap? Oh, yeah, Charles Wilkin. Sean crosses the finish line to take P1. Charles Wilkin will take P2. Johan van der Merwe, little further back. So Gregory Hofart and Mark Henneberry, oh, Greg holding on to the end there. That was a very, very lucky move there. But well done to this driver as well, Mr. Johan van der Merwe. He did well to get himself into P3 here. Mr. Nick Hodgson, sad to see, but he's driven his heart out. Unfortunately couldn't snatch away fastest lap there at the end. I would have hoped to see that him taking new tires might set him up for that. And then P5, Mr. Arvia Mare, gonna be bringing it home. Oh, this was an action-packed race. I'm always hesitant of the racing on Laguna Seca, but I think it was a really, really good drive. Arvia weaving back and forth for P5. Jeremy de Villiers. Ooh, with Christy Simon all over the back of him there. And that rounds out the top 10 finishes. Alright. See if I can go find some people for a quick interview. Hey. And in the booth I have with me Mr. Johan van der Merwe. Johan, how did that race go for you?
Hey, Sat. Well, I basically just tried to stay out of trouble. I mean, the Porsche without traction control was so difficult to drive, and then you get the course through at Laguna Seca. I mean, it's very difficult, but oh, what a fun race! Yeah.
It was thoroughly enjoyable to watch you gents race there at the top end. I'm joined by Mr. Charles Wilkin and Sean Stradom. Sean, I'll get to you in a moment. Charles, what happened? I was heartbroken to see what happened. To see your pit stop.
No, I think I was just outpaced there on the second half. I had a few slow laps behind back markers that cost me a bit of time, and Yeah, just outpacing the second half, I think.
Speaking of outpacing, Sean, you had a superb drive tonight. What made you like pit early? What was the decision making there?
Well, thank you. Well, the decision obviously came while I was sitting behind Charles, showing he showed really good pace, but I could see, especially in the first sector, that I was a bit quicker. And then it was actually like in the spur of the moment I decided, let me put and see if I can get a good outlap, because I thought Charles can immediately react to that. And the longer he stayed out, I could have a look at the map, and I could see every time I get over the line, it looks like, I'm closing that gap, where Charles on the map. And I'm quite happy when I passed the pit lane, I saw Charles starting to move. So still really good pace. Happy with the result.
Charles, would you have made any other decisions if you had like seen Sean getting closer and closer, or did you just try to extend the stint as far as possible?
No, I actually thought I'm going to have less traffic being further in front.
Okay.
And it didn't work out that way. So yeah, maybe Sean had a bit of clear space in the middle, that because my pit stop was perfect, so everything couldn't have done anything better. So it's just outpaced.
I must say, I had a look at Sean's pit stop there. I think he timed it perfectly, because it was in this very special window where a lot of people behind have already pitted, and the people ahead of him that should have, or that was yet to pit, was far enough ahead that he wouldn't arrive like on their rears without needing to battle for them. I think there maybe would have been one car that he might have battled, but they ended up pulling into the pits earlier than expected.
I'm sorry, I just want to say I had a bit of luck with traffic after my pit stop, so I think that also counted in obviously my favor.
Yeah, I think ultimately what I witnessed was, well, what I know from Laguna Seca, track position is very important. It's something to keep in mind. And I was like, maybe it's better to react earlier rather than later. Otherwise, you're going to sit behind traffic, and that might end up losing you more time than battling with someone. I'd rather not worry about the battle behind me than sit and worry about whether my paces are fast enough. But yeah, thanks for big congratulations to the top three of you. It was a superb race to watch. There was good battling up and down the field, Charles, you arrived there on the back of a battle between P8 and P9. It was quite the nail biter to witness that as well, going across the finish line.
Yeah, I was thinking of maybe backing off a little bit. So I saw there was a gap, so I took it. But hopefully I didn't mess the racer.
I think it just made it a little more interesting having to deal with being lapped. Right. Johan, any last thoughts from you?
No, nothing much.
Nothing much.
I had a clean race. I had a bit like a battle with the back markers, so that was fun.
No, I think you and Nick were quite evenly paced, but Nick was running a completely different. Actually, I wanted to ask, did you end up taking tires for your pit stop?
No, so I only took 9 liters of fuel.
9 liters. Okay.
So Nick or Neil stopped for tires.
No. So that was interesting. I was trying to understand where the strategy shakeout was happening, and ultimately it's starting to look like not taking tires is the strategy to go.
I actually wondered if I should take tires because my pressures were up to 28.2. So I just tried to lower the pace a bit to just keep my tires on the correct pressures.
Okay. Thanks, gents, so much for joining. Let's close this out. I'm really excited to see round 3. Let me just quickly get a reminder on where that is. The calendar says we are going to be racing at Donington Park, so that's not next week, but I'm sure you gents are already thinking about practicing and getting ready for that. Donington might be an interesting one. Lots of fast, flowy corners in a car that isn't that aero dependent, eh?
It's going to be a challenging track, to be honest.
I'm looking forward to commentating on that one.
Any track's better. Any track's better than Laguna.
Well, thanks for joining me. Gonna quickly close out here. If you are keen on racing with us, we are moving back to the Sim GT series next week. We'll be on, so last race was on Circuit of the Americas. We'll be on Zolder with the GT3 cars. So there's still time. Come sign up. You can head over to www.simracesa.co.za, find the information there. One of those important pieces is the Discord server. So you do your sign up through the Discord server, and you can still come and race with us. We have enough cars for 2 divisions, so that's also quite exciting. And then the week thereafter is followed by our Sim GP series. Ooh, that's an interesting one. PGO International Circuit GP. I'm not 100% sure. PGO. I'm not 100% sure what that one is. But I'm sure with the GP cars, that Formula 1 car is quite the beast to handle. And then, as I already said, we'll be back in about 3 weeks' time with Donington Park and the simCup car. Thanks everybody so much for joining. It's, as always, great fun to commentate on these races, and I'm really looking forward to the next one. Have a good one.